watching Shalom TV, celebrating Jewish culture. Funding for Shalom TV has been provided by the following. And by viewers like you.
To me, Avraham's name has always been Aryeh. It's because he's a lion. He's a true lion in the field of Jewish education, in bringing the light of Israel and a love of the Jewish people to the world. I'm honored that I can be here to celebrate with him. Congratulations, Avraham.
I can't tell you how many times I heard Avraham's identical speeches, and yet every time I learned something new and I gained something new. Avraham was my first boss and now my lifelong friend.
Avraham Infeld, for me, was a great teacher and an inspirer. When I was in my 20s, I came to Israel, and he took me to the wall with a group of my friends, and he said, we were here together in Sinai. And I didn't have a clue what did that mean. And Avraham taught me through the years what that meant, that we are one people, that we are connected from history from thousands of years ago, and we will be here thousands of years from now, and how to keep being together and what it means to be one people. And I am forever grateful for Avraham for teaching me that, among many other things. He was my mentor in Limud, and he has continued to be my mentor. And I don't know where Avraham keeps thinking of all these new things, but my finest moment probably was when Avraham asked me to do the first ever HILLEL'S Summit, and he came up with an incredible idea, universally human and distinctively Jewish, and we made a fabulous conference, and year after year and day after day, Avraham thinks and is creative, and I hope he lives to 120, and we love you, Avraham.
Good evening. My Avraham Infeld story doesn't involve five-legged tables, doesn't involve dancing the hora, and it doesn't involve learning that Judaism is not a religion. But it was under Avraham's leadership and through the lessons that he taught that I came to experience the transformative Jewish moments that led me here tonight. I was a student at Emory University when Avraham was president of Hillel. During his tenure, I was honored to win the first annual Campus Superstar, a statewide vocal competition inspired by American Idol and sponsored by Hillel. Little did I know at the time, but I left the stage that night with far more than an award. A Hillel professional at my school, who was encouraged by Avraham's dedication to Israel and engagement, invited me to serve on the board of Emory Students for Israel. As an active Hillel student leader, my Jewish knowledge and confidence grew, and I began to take ownership of my own Jewish life. My Hillel experiences inspired me to go on a Taglit Birthright Israel trip, and the day after my college graduation, literally the day after my college graduation, I boarded an El Al flight for a week that I'll never forget. I was profoundly impacted by Birthright, a program that Avraham pioneered, and I returned to the United States with a new connection to Israel and to global Jewish peoplehood. The lessons of Hillel and of Birthright stayed with me as I began my career at an international advertising agency. I found that while my job was professionally fulfilling, it didn't give me the sense of meaning that I sought in my career. So I turned to the Jewish leaders that I had met through Campus Superstar as a sophomore at Emory University, and I sought their advice. They reconnected me to Hillel. Today, as a Hillel professional, I'm helping to tell the story of Hillel in 2010, so that students and young adults can feel the same connection to their community, to the Jewish people around the world, and to the state of Israel that Avraham inspired and championed. So Avraham, I would like to thank you, and I would like to thank you for the role that you've played in my life and in the lives of countless young people like me. And I'd like to do that by singing a song for you. It's the popular Israeli song Yachad, which means together. And you've always emphasized the importance of togetherness for decades now, bringing together young Jewish adults from Israel to the former Soviet Union, from Latin America, all the way here to New York City. And if all of you know the song, if it's familiar, I hope you'll join me in singing the chorus to honor Avraham for bringing us together again tonight.
יחד לב אל לב נפצח בתקווה לאהבה איך שהלב נפצח חולק את העולם ובקריאה גדולה שיר לאהבה יפלו הכל אפשר
Isn't it great to be at a dinner where there are young adults here and alive and awake and bringing their ruach and energy into the room? Great to be at a university again. This is exciting. This is very much Hillel. Thank you, Andra. Now, I was reminded of the importance of our work as I was thinking about tonight when I visited our 11 HILLEL'S in Israel just this past week. One day during my visit, the entire country was locked down in shelters as part of a national emergency preparedness drill. It occurred to me that it didn't matter if the people were politically left, right, center, religious, secular, Sephardic, Ashkenazic. 9 years old, 99 years old, the entire country prepared for the possibility of war. And in the last few days, I suspect many in the room have found it disturbing that many people in this country and around the world have rushed to judge the IDF about the naval blockade. I know from the Israeli press that Israelis too are actively debating this. And this is no surprise. It's actually expected in a vigorous democracy. What is not debatable is the need for every country to have the right to self-defense. What is not debatable is the need that Israel has been and will continue to be central to Hillel and the Jewish people. What is not debatable is that we have the right and the responsibility in the Jewish community to provide Jewish students with the background, context, and love, Ahavat Yisrael, that is required to put such incidents, such as this, in perspective and to defend Israel against its detractors. Yes, you've heard and you've read that our students confront Israel's detractors on campus. Sometimes it's in the form of fellow students, as we saw at Irvine. Sometimes it's in the form of their very professors. But I am encouraged not merely by the student victories in defeating divestment efforts at Berkeley or San Diego and elsewhere. I am heartened by the Israel Fellows and Hillel staff around the world who empower the next generation of Jewish leaders on our campuses. Today, Hillel seeks nothing less than to help Jewish students to take ownership of their Jewish experience so that they will make an enduring commitment to Jewish life. We believe that in order to do so, we must offer students meaningful Jewish experiences during their formative odyssey period of emerging adulthood. This involves 4 distinct elements: a positive Jewish memory, Jewish knowledge, Jewish self-confidence, and a deep appreciation of the Jewish people. Taglit Birthright Israel trips are a meaningful Jewish experience and become a positive Jewish memory. Alternative break trips with AJWS and domestically are a way for us to introduce the concept of tzedek and tikkun olam in a Jewish context. These are meaningful Jewish experiences. Learning with a Jewish educator on campus over a cup of Java or NES or whatever is also a meaningful Jewish experience. It's not coincidental that Avraham Infeld led the Birthright Israel planning process, or that he was president of Hillel when we formulated our new approach to Jewish engagement and experiential, meaningful Jewish experiences. Avraham is an educator and an innovator who has contributed enormously to Hillel and to the Jewish people, and I should say as a teacher and mentor for me. He has often done so, you may be surprised to hear, behind the scenes, with little fanfare and little desire for publicity, but actually to advance the Jewish people. Despite his wonderful, outsized personality and a few of his suits, and his flair for the dramatic, Avraham's chief concern is that of Pintele Yid, that little spark of Jewishness that is concealed even in the least educated Jews. Tonight, he will engage us in his favorite role after dinner of Jewish learning. But before that, we will be engaging in the time-honored Jewish practice of schmoozing. But it's schmoozing with a purpose, to bring light into the world. Tonight at your table, the Jewish students who have participated in Hillel activities at their schools, this is an opportunity to hear about their meaningful Jewish experiences and to share yours. What touched your Jewish soul? Was it camp, a trip to Israel, a conversation with a great teacher, friend, or student, a historical event? What role is Hillel playing in creating meaningful Jewish experiences for these college students? Through his words and his activities, my dear teacher, mentor, and friend, Avraham Infeld, teaches us how to provide meaningful Jewish experiences that turn little sparks of Jewish identity into bright lights that illuminate the Jewish community and the world. Thank you, Avraham, and Yesher Koach, B'Te'avon, enjoy dinner and conversation.
When I was a student at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, I once heard Avraham speak at a Hillel Student Leaders Assembly about how Ruth said to Naomi, "Your people shall be my people and your God my God." and she said, "Your people before your God," because the Jewish people comes first for who we are. And I remember that today because I really believe that that is what being Jewish is all about.
Avram taught me more than anything else how to treat a professional, how to treat a Jewish professional like a mensch, and how to really invest in people's growth for the long-term commitments they'll make and contributions they'll make to the Jewish people.
Avram understands how to connect Jewish students to their Jewish identity, whether it's through a lecture, a social justice trip, or a mission to Israel. It's no accident that the term meaningful Jewish experiences entered the Hillel lexicon during his administration. That's why we honor Avraham tonight, in part by highlighting something that is very close to his heart. The Meyerhoff family has been a close partner of Avraham and Hillel for many years. In 1998, the Meyerhoffs provided Hillel with our largest single donation to that point to establish the Joseph E. Meyerhoff Center for Jewish Learning. Today, that gift continues to allow Hillel to infuse Jewish content throughout our enterprise, from staff training to our website to student initiatives and trips. Lee Hendler is not just the president of the Harvey and Lynn P. Meyerhoff Fund and the past chair of Hillel's Joseph E. Meyerhoff Center. She is an author and Jewish educator who is called upon to lecture around the world. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Lee Hendler.
Thank you, Neil, for that lovely introduction. The Meyerhoff Center and Hillel in the former Soviet Union are both important to Avraham and thrived under his presidency. In fact, many things thrived under Avraham's presidency. Professionals, lay leaders, and students alike experienced his infectious passion for the Jewish people, his persuasive brand of leadership. How many of us here tonight, I'd like you to raise your hands, actually said yes to an Infeld request before we actually knew what we'd been recruited for? That's what I thought. And all of us learned to embrace the vision, the virtue of his wonderful vision, distinctively Jewish, universally human. Endowed by the Joseph Meyerhoff Family Charitable Funds, Hillel's Joseph Meyerhoff Center for Jewish Learning contributes to the Jewish Renaissance on campus by infusing the entire Hillel experience with Jewish content, as Neil said. It hopes to foster Jewish learning in multiple venues and modes, creates continuing education opportunities for campus professionals, and also enriches the social action initiatives of Weinberg Tzedek Hillel. Over 100 years ago, my grandfather escaped from Russia with his parents, Oscar, Hannah, and 7 siblings. In 1906, they left the tiny town of Pershepina in Kiev. In his later years, Grandpa wanted to go back, but felt he couldn't risk it. His mistrust of Russian authorities ran deep. So my father and I went back to visit our ancestral village in 2004, and apparently very little had changed. 2 electric lines and 2 old women who remembered the one last Jew whom the town had turned over generously to the Nazis. We were grateful that Oscar had left. What Grandpa, who died in 1984, could never have imagined is the magnificent renaissance in Jewish life that had taken place elsewhere in the FSU. Because of the founding support and vision of the Charles and Lynn Schusterman Family Foundation and the American Joint Distribution Committee, Hillel now operates 27 community centers in 7 former Soviet republics and gives nearly 10,000 young adults each year the chance to learn, explore, and celebrate their Jewish heritage. That a center bearing my grandfather's name and his conviction that Jewish learning is essential to Jewish life should play even a small role in this miracle is an expression of justice that goes well beyond the meaning of tzedek. It speaks about our purpose as a people as well. When we pursue justice and other core Jewish values with humility, integrity, joy, and determination, we have a reason to continue to transmit and transform the traditions of our ancestors. MINSK Hillel, begun in 1997, has earned the Joseph Meyerhoff Award for Meaningful Jewish Experiences. Chosen by 150 peer Hillel directors from all over the world in a blind competition, this is the first time ever that one of our FSU Hillels will be the Meyerhoff recipient. Despite economic challenges in 2009, MINSK doubled the number of students participating in its Seminar on Wheels, a student expedition to the Jewish sites of Belarus. This inspiring week-long experience with elements of tzedek, Jewish learning, and community building is a catalyst for future Jewish engagement. It gives me great pleasure, and it is a genuine honor to present in the name of my grandfather, Joseph Meyerhoff, and in memory of his parents, Oscar and Hannah, the 2010 Meyerhoff Award for Meaningful Jewish Experiences to the director of MINSK Hillel, Maxim Yudin.
Thanks to everybody. Thanks you, Lee, for such wonderful words. My dear friends and colleagues, it's hard to express how glad I am to see so many close and dear people here tonight. I'm proud to join you and to represent the Jewish community of Minsk, which has always had a special place in Jewish history. I'm sure that many of your grandparents and great-grandparents came from Minsk or somewhere around Minsk area. Today, Hillel is helping to create a renaissance of Hillel life in Minsk. 2 generations ago, 90% of the Jewish population was killed in Belarus during the Holocaust. The few survivors who returned were forbidden from practicing their religion. Times have changed completely. Nowadays, there are Jewish schools, JCCs, synagogues, and of course Hillel has been operating in Minsk for almost 15 years. There is a saying, a candle never loses anything by lighting another candle. In Minsk, one generation of Jewish students is teaching the next the basics of Judaism. They are taking ownership of their Jewish identity and making an enduring commitment to Jew life. I myself have been a member of Hillel since I was a university student in 1999. It changed my life completely, and it keeps changing the lives of others. Thanks to your support, our young people are lighting many candles and creating a bright future from our gloomy, really gloomy past. We are proud to be the first Hillel in the former Soviet Union to receive the Meyerhoff Award for Meaningful Jewish Experience. When we look at the difficult work that lies ahead of us and the many obstacles that often fall in our way, the award will remind us of our Hillel family and will give us the encouragement to carry on. We are grateful to the Meyerhoff family for their continued support for Hillel's educational initiatives. I also want to thank our dear honoree who has a special place in the life of my Hillel and even my family. Avraham Infeld is well known to Jewish students throughout the former Soviet Union, who have attended his many inspiring lectures over the years. Avraham has helped our Jewish students to increase their Jewish literacy and Jewish affiliation, to find their own cultural identification with Judaism, to expand their Jewish horizons. It's life-changing help. Thanks to Avraham, many young Jews have returned to their people. Avraham has taught them what it means to be a part of the whole Jewish community, with its eternal motto, one people, one heart. All Jews are responsible for each other. It's fair to say that Avraham has contributed to the spiritual rebirth of young Jews in the former Soviet Union. I personally met Avraham about 9 years ago when I attended the FSU Hillel Congress. Avraham gave one of his powerful speeches, and I hoped someday to be able to address a large group of Jewish activists just like him. Well, maybe someday I will. His translator that day was a beautiful, petite young woman who did the best that she could to keep up with him, as we all do. At that time, she was the director of Hillel in Yekaterinburg, in Middle Russia. Today, she is my beloved wife for almost 5 years. Each time Avraham sees me here in the United States or in some other countries, he asks how is his girlfriend doing. So what could I do? He's Avraham Infeld. Thank you a lot, thank you very much for this award and for helping to make the dream of Jewish life come true for students in the former Soviet Union. Thank you very much.
So I'm standing here with two of the young people who are part of Hillel and who are really gracing this extraordinary evening. Tal.
Akabis.
And?
Jamie Freilich.
Where are you going to school?
Cornell.
Where are you going to school?
Cornell also.
You know each other?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Every now and then you'll hear people say that the new generation of Jewish youth is disaffected from their Jewish core and in some way feels alienated from the state of Israel. To what extent, A, does this represent you? I'm guessing because you're in Hillel, it does not. But you have many friends. And to what extent are you concerned about what your parents' generation hear all the time? Begin first.
I don't really think that that's the case. I think that in a lot of cases, it's just people who haven't had a chance to be active necessarily, that at their core, everyone really does care about Judaism in Israel, and you see this from people coming back from birthright with just a newfound sense of who they are and what they believe in, and it was always there. It wasn't just born while they were away, but it kind of was nurtured, yeah, while they were there.
Beautifully said. Tom?
I would sort of agree with what Jamie said, but also, you know, both of us are on the student board, and one of the main things we focus on is engagement. I would say a lot of kids are busy at college, but once you bring them in and they see what they're missing, you know, they come back and they have a great time with Hillel.
Well, first of all, thank you for giving me a moment of time.
Thank you.
Thank you for being part of this evening. I wish you the best, and you represent something very beautiful and special about the next generation of American Jews. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Jamie and Tal. I'm standing now with the chair of Hillel, B. Mandel. What an evening. First, congratulations.
Thank you so much. We're so happy to have this kind of a gathering to honor Avraham Infeld.
It's wonderful. And there are few people on this planet like Avraham, so you've chosen wisely.
Well, we were very blessed because, as you probably know, he was president of Hillel for 4 years and certainly changed dramatically our direction and our thought process.
So, B, what is it that you wish more American Jews understood about Hillel today?
I think I would love to have them understand that at Hillel, young people are really defining and redefining and finding what it means to be Jewish, finding Jewish journeys in ways that I don't think their parents would necessarily have thought of, in traditional ways, in untraditional ways. The variety of activity and opportunity to find out who you are and what you're all about and how to begin your own Jewish adult journey has really been quite remarkable to watch. And in the room tonight, we are sharing time and space not only with Hillel professionals and Hillel donors, but with hundreds of students who have been personally touched by what Avraham has done.
Who are all gorgeous, by the way.
Aren't they? Aren't they?
You know, there's
you remember the slogan, it's not your father's Oldsmobile. Well, this is not your father's Hillel. Or your mother's.
Boy, oh boy.
Or your mother's.
Oh boy, oh boy. So, B, you know, you always hear a certain kind of anxiety in the Jewish community, especially among our generation, that the young people are losing a sense of attachment to the state of Israel and to the Jewish core. What has your experience been, and in general, what would you say about the American Jewish youth today?
I think quite to the contrary. I think that we are providing opportunities for young people to explore both what it means to be Jewish and what it means to be part of the Jewish peoplehood. And if I were to try and tie tonight together in one thought, it would be Avram's message of Jewish peoplehood. And I think that the opportunity and the thought process he helped us engage in thinking differently about both what it means to be in the diaspora, what it means to be a Jew, what it means to figure out who you are and what you're all about, what place Israel occupies in your thinking, in your heart, in your being. Really gave us an opportunity to expand what we do, how we think about things. And I think if you want to think about the future and have any concerns, I would encourage you to walk in the doors of your local Hillel, whether it's at an Ivy League school or whether it's a 2-year commuter campus where we're seeing students from immigrant families who are the first in their family to attend college. The opportunities to engage in that Jewish journey exist in all of those places, and they're creative and they're interesting and they're inspiring, and the kids are drop-dead engaging and gorgeous. And if you have any concerns about the future, please walk into your local Hillel. I think you'll walk away feeling much happier than you walked in the door.
So I'm here with the guest of honor, Avraham Infeld. You've met him before on Shalom TV, an extraordinary teacher, an extraordinary thinker, and one who has done so much to energize and inspire world Jewry. And tonight you're getting the Renaissance Award from National Hillel. I have one, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you very, very much.
Mazal Tov. Look, everybody's concerned about the future of young people, young Jews in America, worried that in some way they're going to lose their attachment, A, to Judaism, and B, to the state of Israel. What would your message be to any young person, young Jew, watching you right now?
First of all, my message to them is, to the young people, would be to talk about the fact that the Jews are a people. You were born into that people. Don't throw it over without taking a careful look at it. Because when you do take a careful look at it, you will find things in there that will excite you. I'm going to be talking about this a bit. But more than I say to the young people, I say to the people who are listening and to the young people today, listen to them carefully. They're asking questions. The adult community is hearing what they want to hear and not what these young people are saying. We will lose them because we don't listen to them carefully.
Avram, what are they saying most? What are they saying most?
They are saying we want to be a part of this. We don't want to just get what you want to give us. We want to understand that this is meaningful. We want to know that this is significant. We want to know that this is going to be important for our lives. We want to know that it is going to make a personal difference in our life. We can't just talk to them about things we want from them. We have to talk about what this is going to do for them. And it's going to do amazing things for them.
Last question. You have helped Hillel so dramatically over the years. As you look at Hillel now, is there anything you hope for it as we begin now a new decade together?
Well, look, I'm in the position of knowing Hillel now for 35 years. I knew it 35 years ago. There's no connection. I mean, it's a new world.
Yes.
I'm very proud of what my successor is doing, and I'm very thrilled to have followed on Richard Joel's leadership. But what I would like to see happen, as I said, people have got to be able to listen to the young people more. I think Hillel's doing it. I'm going to talk tonight about how Hillel has remained in the camp. That's where they are. They're an important part of what's happening.
Look, I just want to add my voice. You know, we all love you. We love you not only for your mind, but for your heart, what you've given to world Jewry for as long as you've been teaching. So live to 120 and keep on doing the good fight. Kol tuv v'hatzlacha.
Thank you, and all the best to Shalom TV.
It is quite obvious that Avraham Infeld has touched the lives of each one of us in this room tonight, and that he has made a deep impact on Hillel and on the Jewish world. Avraham is a man of learning, of speaking, of doing. He is profoundly committed to Israel, and yet he is global in his thinking and in his vision.
Thank God for Avraham Infeld. Avraham is truly a global Jewish educator, innovator, and leader. In his remarkable lifetime, he has led MINSK, Arevim, the San Francisco Federation's EMERITUS, the Israel Experience, the Israel Forum, the Shalom Hartman Institute, Gesher Education Affiliates, the Chase Foundation, and his current position as the senior consultant on peoplehood for the Nadav Foundation, and of course, Hillel. In these positions, he has traveled the world promoting the significant survival of the Jewish people. In recognition of his unique contribution to the Jewish people, in 2005, Avraham was awarded Hebrew University's prestigious Samuel Rothberg Prize for Jewish education, the first specialist in informal Jewish education to be so honored. Avraham cannot do all he does without the love and support of his wife, Ellen, who is with us, as well as their 4 children who share his commitment to Israel and global Jewish peoplehood. They graciously accommodate his long trips far from home. And for those of us that know Avraham well, it's even more remarkable that they put up with his extended stays in Israel. Avraham, everyone in this room has fond memories of you. But from 2003 to 2006, I think I spent more time with you than your wife. We had a wonderful relationship, you as president of Hillel, and me as chairman of the board. I never ceased to be amazed at your level of energy, your creativity, your enthusiasm, your ability to make complicated ideas simple and compelling, and your ability to enchant students and lay leaders alike. Who else could charm secular Jews and Chabadniks, not only in the same room, as you did at the GA, but also in the same sentence? And during your tenure as president of Hillel, you achieved an amazing amount for this organization. Let me just recount a few of your accomplishments. You enlarged Hillel's budget and expanded our Board of Governors. You created the Israel Fellows Program, expanding it to 21 campuses, and now, I think you know, we're going to be expanding it to 40 campuses across the country with the help of the Jewish Agency. You instituted the Winter Student Leadership Missions to Israel. You enhanced Israel's lay leadership training program and upgraded professional recruitment, training, and retention. You undertook new approaches to Jewish education, including the creation of spirituality training seminars. You created Hillel's response to Hurricane Katrina. You vastly expanded our social justice work. You strengthened our Hillel's in the former Soviet Union and added Hillel's in Israel and in Latin America. You envisioned and held our first biannual Summit on the University and the Jewish Community, which has been a tremendous success. And you were instrumental, as has been noted before, in the development of Hillel's current strategic plan. But your true impact is on the individuals you've inspired through your work. You have traveled the world discussing your core principles: memory, family, Sinai, Israel, Hebrew. And you've changed lives. The story goes that you were once traveling through Ben Gurion Airport in Israel when you were stopped by a young American woman. She showed you a locket that she wore around her neck. She had taken out the photo from inside and had your mantra inscribed instead. Memory, family, Sinai, Israel, Hebrew. Avraham, your words are close to all of our hearts, and knowing you has enhanced all of our souls. On behalf of Hillel and all who have joined us tonight, it is my great honor and pleasure to present you with Hillel's Renaissance Award for your lifelong work in enriching the campus, the Jewish community, and the world. As a token of our appreciation, we're presenting you with a copy of the poem Ha'emunah, The Faith, by Rabbi Isaac HaKohen Cook. This poem expresses Rabbi Cook's faith that the Jewish people would, quote, return to our holy land, to the city where David settled. Like you, Rabbi Cook was motivated by a deep faith to build the land of Israel. Like you, he traveled the world inspiring people with his love of Israel and the Jewish people. May you continue to inspire us for many, many, many more years to come.